You guys ready? I'm gonna click it. You're 11 years old. What is your best friend's name? We have Andrew, Ashley, Brandon, Dave, Jessica, Megan, Nicole, Michael, Ryan, and Sarah. Megan. I like Megan. Let's be friends with Megan. Your best friend Megan has invited you to a sleepover at her house this weekend. You've been friends since first grade, so asking your mom is basically only a formality. Yeah, formality. I don't need to ask my mom. On Friday night, you're home for only a few hours. Long enough to pack, get in a fight with your younger sister, pack some more, and watch some TV. At 6 sharp, you're standing on the sidewalk outside Megan's house, while your mom idles in her car nearby. She leans out the window to you. You behave yourself, okay? She says, as always. I'll be at work, but if anything happens, you call me. Okay, Mom. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 3, she says, again as usual. But then she pauses, looking up at the sky, which has been overcast throughout the day. If you play outside, she adds, be careful. It's probably gonna rain. I'll give Mom a kiss goodbye, because you know what? Mom's... Look, she drove us over here. She drove us over here. We should give her a kiss. After you part, your mom drives down the street, disappearing around the corner. You turn back to Megan's house. The lights inside are glowing warmly. You can see Megan waving at you from her bedroom on the 2nd floor. Head inside. It is 6 p.m. Megan's mom meets you just inside. Hello, she says. Dinner will be ready in just a few minutes, but you can drop off stuff in the den. You and Megan are camping out there tonight. Cool. I like dens. You drop your sleeping and overnight bags in the corner of the den and then pause to take a look around. Behind the couch, a grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a set of patio doors on the far side of the room, you can see the sky is just as gray as it was when your mom left. Framed pictures line the walls, and over the dark fireplace hangs a monstrous pair of antlers from a buck that Megan's dad shot years ago. And of course, there is the big screen TV. Sometimes it makes you uncomfortable how much nicer Megan's house is than yours. Anyway, you drop your sleeping and overnight bags in the corner of the den and then pause to take a look around. Behind the couch, a grandfather clock is ticking softly. Oh wait, that's the same thing we just read. Anyway, the big screen TV, yada yada, look at all the fancy stuff Megan has. Megan entered the room while you weren't paying attention, and she now stands in the doorway, smiling expectantly. Are you ready for dinner? She asks. Yeah, I'm hungry. Dinner passes quickly. Tonight's meal is spaghetti and meatballs, one of Megan's favorite meals, as her mother points out while piling a helping on your plate. Megan's father cracks a beer and jovially interrogates you about how much trouble you and Megan are getting into at school. Desserts heaping bowls of ice cream drizzled in chocolate sauce. You can't even finish yours. The grandfather clock in the den chimes. I want to see what the beer is. Wait, that wasn't a beer at all. That's a glass of lemonade. Why would you even think it was a beer? Megan's father doesn't drink alcohol. You're quite certain of that fact now that you've remembered it. Well, whatever. Yeah, now it changed to Megan's father sips a lemonade. The grandfather clock in the den chimes. Ah, wow. Well, okay, well, guess what? I just got jump scared by a grandfather clock. Are there any elixirs in that thing? You go along now, says Megan's mom, smiling from her side of the table. We'll clean up in here. Let's go get the TV ready. says Megan. The two of you leave the dining room and head upstairs. Megan's room is immense. You stay in the den because the TV is larger there, but there's a sizable one here, flush with a wall opposite the full-size bed. We'll take the 64 down first, says Megan, heading toward her TV and opening the entertainment center cabinet. It's her prerogative, of course. She gets to choose what you play first, usually. But as Megan begins unhooking the cords of the N64 from the TV, you catch sight of the other things she has in there. All the major stuff. An old SNES, a PlayStation, a Dreamcast. But some other things, too. Things you don't really recognize. A large black box with green highlights. A smaller purple one. A strange white and yellow tower with what looks like gloves resting on hooks on either side. A compact white cone. I'm pretty sure the first one's an Xbox. The second one's a GameCube. I don't know what the white and yellow tower would be. What are those? Megan looks to the clutter in the cabinet. Oh yeah, she says. They're pretty cool. I can't throw them to you though. They're still secret. I promised my uncle. Of course. You suddenly remember her uncle. The uncle who works for Nintendo. In the corner, the grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a nearby set of patio doors, you can see it's getting quite dark. Framed pictures line the walls. Megan is parked in front of the large TV playing something on the Nintendo 64. I'm gonna look at the grandfather clock. It's 7 o'clock. That sounds like Zelda. Framed pictures line the walls. You walk around the perimeter of the den, inspecting the pictures idly. Most of them are family portraits from years past. Megan cradled lovingly between her mother and father, or any one of the three on their own. Yeah, now this sounds like Star Fox for sure. A happy, tidy family. I'm gonna look for pictures of Megan's uncle. You don't find any. Not one. The only pictures here are of Megan and her parents. You don't know why that makes you feel uneasy. Time passes. It's 7:30. Okay, so we have a certain amount of time to do as much as we want. I'm gonna talk to Megan about games. Talk about how much you like games. And an hour passes. Megan raises an eyebrow at your remark. What do you like about them? I like being a hero in the stories. Yeah, she says. That's a nice feeling. But something in her voice tells you she's thinking about something. What's up? Do you think it's weird to play games? She asks suddenly. And then before you can say anything else. I mean, like, is it weird for a girl to play games? That is a little too close to home. I don't know. Megan shakes her head. It's just, you know, those guys at school. Yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about, so I'm going to nod. Girls don't play video games. Why don't you play girl games? You're not as good as this as a boy would be. I don't want to trade Pokemon with you. Yeah, says Megan. Yeah. But they're jerks. Who cares what they have to say? Megan shrugs tiredly. Yeah, she says. Who does care? Without another word, she returns to the Nintendo, leaving you alone with your thoughts. The clock chimes. You were in the den. It's 8 o'clock. Let's watch Megan play. Oh, now this is definitely Ocarina of Time. I just heard the lens of truth. Megan decides you should play the next game alone. It's pretty boring. You're at a party having a conversation with a man in a business suit. But for some reason, you can't move the camera up to see above his mouth. He's always smiling. He tells you a story about how people always mistake him for someone else. Did you figure it out? Asked Megan, once the man in the game has apparently stood up and left the conversation. Figure what out? Megan laughs. I guess not, she says, before putting her choice of game into the N64. You realize you've played for quite some time. Clock chimes. Megan's mother bustles into the room, holding a large ceramic bowl filled with popcorn under her arm. How are you kids doing? Good, says Megan, her eyes not moving from the television. I hope you're having fun, says Megan's mom. Here's some popcorn, extra butter. She places it on the floor by Megan. Almost immediately, Megan is shoveling popcorn into her mouth. Meanwhile, her mother smiles first at her, and then back at you. There's sodas in the kitchen if you get thirsty, she says, and some pizza from the other night if you get hungry. Thank you. She looks at Megan. Your father's gone to bed. I'll be there soon myself. I want you two to keep it quiet, all right? Yes, Mom, Megan says tiredly. Oh, and before I forget, your uncle called. He suddenly has some business here in town tomorrow, but he's driving in early. He'll be here around midnight. For the first time, Megan stops playing her game, stops eating popcorn, and turns to look at her mother. Okay, she says. I want you two to welcome him in. He'll be very tired and very hungry, so offer him something to eat before he goes to bed. Okay, Mom. Good night, kids. And with that, she's gone. In the corner, the grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a nearby set of patio doors, you can see it's fully dark outside. It's 9 o'clock. There's a large bowl of popcorn. You grab a handful of popcorn. It's buttery and delicious. I like popcorn. Man, I like popcorn. I love popcorn. Popcorn. Give me the popcorn. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I gotta pay. You head to the bathroom down the hall from the den. There's a shower, a linen closet, and a toilet. It's okay, Fish. You can't smell it through the game. It's fine. The shower is pristinely clean. A linen closet. It's a linen closet filled with large fluffy towels and washcloths. You're not sure why you looked in here. Are you finished? Toilet? You don't have to go right now. Oh. I mean, I said I had to pee. Okay, it took us 30 minutes to go to the bathroom, even though we didn't have to pee. Let's go to the kitchen. Passing through the empty dining room, you enter the kitchen, which is also deserted right now. Fridge. Ooh, a water pitcher. Let's head back to the den. That keeps startling me. It begins raining outside. Okay, so it starts raining at 10. Yeah, also the uncle who works for Nintendo has a bathroom, by the way. Confirmed. Let's ask about the uncle's visit. Your uncle stays with you when he visits? Yeah, says Megan nonchalantly. He lives pretty far away, so he just drops by. Isn't that a little weird? Megan gives you a look you don't like very much. How would you know? She asks. You don't even have an uncle. I don't? Alright, I mean, I guess so. You drop the conversation in silence. Think about Megan's uncle. He began with Mew. You didn't believe her at first when Megan came to school one day and told you she had finally caught a Mew. Prove it, you said. So she pulled out her Game Boy and showed you. There it was. Mew. The 151st Pokemon, available only to players at promotional events, somehow unlocked on Megan's game. It's really strong, she said. It KOs every enemy in one hit. That's also, yo, I had a Mew, okay? I had like 6 Mews. I used to play Pokemon trading card game and I got a bunch of them, and I guarantee you Mew does not KO every enemy in one hit. Not true. Megan demonstrated this claim at recess, when you and some other friends linked Game Boys to do battle. You were the first one down. No one else got in a single hit on Megan's Mew. You asked how Megan managed to get it. Oh, in a few days, everyone had quit playing Pokemon at recess. Oh, jeez. You asked how Megan managed it. Oh, my uncle got a job at Nintendo, said Megan. You were walking home together, past one of the construction crews. Megan still lived next door to you at the time. There had been a storm not too long ago. Trees were down all over town. Buildings had collapsed. You were standing at an intersection with Megan as a truck rumbled by, loading up with ragged tree trunks. What a bad storm. This couldn't have been too long ago. When did Megan move? There was something nice about being neighbors. Oh. He also got me this new Game Boy, said Megan, pulling it out of her pocket. You hadn't noticed it earlier, but yes. Megan now had a sleek new Game Boy Color. Until today, she had one of the old ones, a big gray brick like yours. This one's a special edition, said Megan. Isn't it cool? You agreed. Did she have the Pokemon one? I have that one. It's blue on the back and yellow on the front, and it has a Pokeball over the power light, and it has a Jigglypuff and a Clefairy, and it also has a Hakia and Pikachu on it. You snap out of your reflections. It's 10:30. Let's remember our own Mew. Pikachonk. I had the see-through purple Game Boy Advance. That's actually the one I still have in a drawer back here. You got your own Mew eventually. Another friend had a Game Shark, which you borrowed one day. You spent that entire night unlocking every Pokemon you couldn't obtain in your copy of the game or hadn't traded for, including Mew. It didn't one-hit KO most enemies. It was incredibly weak, and you shamefully cheated the game further to make it strong enough. It even looked different from Megan's. Your Mew was small, even cute, standing there with its round, cheerful eyes. But when Megan's had wiped out everyone at school, it looked completely different. Compact, snarling, fierce. That's weird. Dude, Megan totally did have a hacked Mew. You asked her why. What? She said. That had been here in the den. Megan had moved by then, but how long was that after the first storm after she got Mew? Oh, that thing? It had been a while since anyone talked about Pokemon. Well, my uncle got me a special edition Mew, first of all, she said, smirking a little, but not looking away from the PlayStation game she was playing. That's why mine look different. Second of all, mine can one-hit KO because it's the real Mew. You asked what she meant by that. Just what I said, Megan replied. You cheated and got a fake Mew, so of course there'd be problems, glitches and junk. You felt your cheeks redden. But not me, Megan said again. I got the real Mew, and only me. My brother was so jealous. Megan's brother? What about him? Why does remembering that comment make you feel uneasy? You snap out of your reflections. The clock chimes. Let's try to, well, oh boy. Oh God, it's 11 o'clock. We have an hour left until Uncle shows up. Let's ask her about the uncle's visit. So why is your uncle coming? Megan shrugs. Business? What sort of business? Stuff for Nintendo, says Megan. What does Nintendo do here? Megan pauses the game and turns toward you, visibly agitated. How should I know? I don't work for them. Right now, she's not quite yelling, but you'd think if you keep pressing the subject, she might. Sorry, I was just curious. You drop the conversation in silence. Okay, it's still 11. I'm gonna try. Does Nintendo have a lot of business here? Why else would my uncle be coming? Megan says, as if you've asked the dumbest question in the world. Well, it's cool I'll finally get to meet him. Yeah, agrees Megan. I think you'll like him. I don't think she's gonna give us any more info about like what her uncle actually does. So I don't know, maybe let's talk to Megan about the storm? Ask if Megan thinks this storm will be as bad as the last one. I don't like the sound of the wind. You remember that storm we had that tore down all the trees? I don't know what you're talking about, says Megan. You don't remember? Remember what? I actually forgot until tonight. There was this huge storm a few weeks ago, I think. Megan shakes her head. If it was important, I'm sure I would have remembered it, she says. You fall silent. That's weird. That's hella weird. I don't like that. That's hella weird. Can I ask her about school? It occurs to you that even though Megan does really well in school, you seem to remember her having some trouble earlier in the year. You ask what's up, but receive no answer. An hour passes. Oh, no! The clock chimes. You're in the den. The grandfather clock chimes the hour as Megan suddenly looks up from the 64. It's time, she says. Is your uncle here? Someone knocks at the front door. That's him, says Megan. I should go let him in. As she leaves the den, you realize you could follow, but a part of you really feels like being scarce for a bit. Kitchen! This passage does not exist! Kitchen? What? The kitchen doesn't exist? The bathroom? You run down the hall to the bathroom and lock the door behind you. Or at least, this could have been a bathroom. The walls are bare and white, and there's no sink or toilet. But there are some odd, featureless white boxes that could stand in for a shower or a linen closet. You slip into the plain white box that is about the size of a shower. From the front of the house, you can hear the front door slam open. After that, you don't hear anything except bad expression, child, the rain. No, not just the rain, but that voice in the back of your head like, bad expression. I am coming for you, child. Like something you can't even begin to describe. Though you locked the door behind you, you hear it open easily. Something walks in. Hold your breath. You're not sure how you know something is out there because you don't exactly. Bad expression. Oh, child! Hear it moving, but you know it's there, and you know it's stopped. Bad expression. Poor child. Right outside your hiding spot. It opens the door, even though you immediately realize it doesn't have any hands. Oh, child, I am so hungry, child. You cannot run, child. Hello, child. No more worries, child. Hello, child. Struggle equals screaming equals peace. I have friends for you, child. Friends for you in the dark. You will play forever in the dark. Cool. Yeah, I think we just got eaten by an eldritch horror. Endings. Oh, there's 5 different endings. There's actually 5 different endings. Why was the kitchen non-existent? Literally, why was the kitchen non-existent? That's freaking me out. That's what freaks me out the most. The kitchen didn't fucking exist. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Also, yeah, so before, what's weird is there totally was not actually a volume control for the game at all, but now there appears to be on my volume mixers, so I'm gonna turn it down. In case are you guys interested in finding some more of the endings? Do we want to find more of the endings? Yes. All right. Let's restart at 7 in the den. One quick question then. Was your friend's father drinking beer at dinner? No, he doesn't drink. This makes me feel like we have repressed memories. And there's this background again. Oh, okay. It looks like that's the only reflection you can have at the moment. Okay, there's the popcorn. Huh. I'm gonna get the pizza this time. Okay, this time I want to try telling her that we don't believe her about her uncle. I'm not sure I believe you about your uncle. Megan takes a moment to respond as if she's not quite sure she heard you correctly. What? I don't believe your uncle works for Nintendo. You think you've finally done it. Megan stands up, fists clenched at her side, mouth twisting horribly as she struggles to say something. You watch as she takes a step toward you and you clench your teeth and wait. Megan darts forward and pushes you back onto the hardwood floor, cracking your skull against the carpet. Oh, what? How old are we? Holy shit, Megan, I'm gonna punch you. You shove yourself up off the floor and send your fist into Megan's stomach. For a moment, you're shocked at what you've done as she stands there gasping in her pajamas, but then suddenly, bad expression, I hate you. You hear something, or think you hear something. Someone shouting, and then you've fallen flat on the floor. For a moment, you don't think you can get up. Your whole body feels heavy. Did she hit you? I hate you, says Megan. Leave me alone. You finally manage to sit up as she turns back to her game. You take a moment to collect yourself. Okay, that's still the same conversation. It's 10 now. Oh, this is an option we didn't have before. Call your mom? Oh, also, we have to pee, apparently. You regret that kitchen trip earlier. Now you have to go to the bathroom. There's nothing inside the shower. No bottles of soap or shampoo and no shower head or faucet. It's just an empty box. What is going on here? Linen closet. The closet is completely empty. The walls are a strange, untextured white. What is going on here? You realize there's something wrong with the toilet. The water in the bowl looks solid like glass. When you attempt to turn the handle, nothing happens, but the toilet emits the sound of flushing anyway. You suddenly don't feel like having to go anymore. What is going on here? What the fuck? I'm calling Mom! I'm calling my mom! I'm calling my mom! Mom! You dial your mom's work number and wait. She picks up after 3 rings. I want to go home. Something in your voice seems to give her pause. Okay, she says after a moment. I'll call the sitter and tell her to come pick you up. It'll probably be an hour. Is that okay? Yep. Of course, she says with a hint of a sigh. I'll call her now, okay? She'll be there in an hour. Be safe. She hangs up. Return to the den and pack your things. The clock chimes as you enter the den. Megan doesn't even look away from the TV as you come in. quietly begin gathering up your things. This draws Megan's attention. What are you doing? She asks. Explain that you're leaving. What? Megan stands up, not even bothering to pause the game. No, you can't leave. It's almost time. I don't think we're friends anymore. You don't understand, she says. If you leave, I'll get in trouble. Trouble? I actually like you, Megan says. I'm sorry we fought, but I do like you. We're really friends. You don't know what to say. The others, it was different, but when he asked for you... You fucking what, Megan? If you stay, I'm sure it'll be different. I'm sure we'll work something out. Are you okay? You can't go, says Megan, ignoring your question. There's so much stuff I had planned tonight. I was gonna let you play the next Zelda game, the one that's not even out yet. Before you can say anything, she's already running upstairs. Megan continually runs up and down the stairs, bringing you games and consoles while you pack up your things. Every time she presents something new, you ignore her or brush it off with an uncaring shrug. Please, Megan says, just stay. Stay the night, please. Outside, you hear a car horn honk. No, you say. And with your night bag slung over one shoulder, you march to the front door and exit into the night. As you walk to the sitter's car, you see your little sister in the back seat, still in her pajamas. The sitter, a high school girl who lives down the street from you, looks incredibly unhappy to be here, but you think you'll be able to handle her. As you climb into the car, you cast one last look over your shoulder back to the house. Megan is standing in the doorway, totally still, not screaming, not crying, not doing much of anything. The car begins to pull away from the house, and as you watch, you see her parents appear in the doorway behind her. Wave? Without acknowledging you, Megan's parents lay their hands on her shoulders. They turn Megan back into the house, the door closing just as everything slides out of view. When you turn around in your seat to look out the back window, you can't even see the house's lights. Megan doesn't show up to school on Monday. Or Tuesday. Or Wednesday. On Thursday, you ask your teacher, Mr. Scott, where Megan is. He blinks at you confusedly. Oh, he says eventually. Megan, well, I'm surprised she didn't tell you about this, but she and her family moved away. The house is empty when you ride your bike by that afternoon. It somehow seems even larger without anything or anyone in it. A for sale sign stands in the yard out front. Go home. You never see Megan again, and eventually, as the years pass, you forget about her entirely. The fuck? What? What? Her whole... What even is going on? What did they do to Megan? What did they do to Megan? Alright, we gotta find out what the fuck they did to Megan. Okay, so... I see. So it looks like the things that you talk about already, you don't really get to see again. Like, we had already talked to Megan about school and games. Megan belongs to Nintendo now! Let's see. I'm gonna go to the kitchen, and I'm gonna get some milk. Okay, so basically, yeah, a bunch of these conversations don't really go anywhere. Yeah, so, okay, there's like the... It's raining outside. I feel like you might have to go to the bathroom. Okay, so the bathroom looks normal at that point. Interesting. I kind of want to know what happens if you don't find anything weird at all. You and Megan play a game of Mario Kart. Megan wins the first track pretty easily, and you start to feel like this was a mistake. She's just too competitive. But you actually win during the second track. Eat my dust! Sorry, says Megan. I'm a little off my game tonight. You notice that she seems somehow nervous. While you played, an hour passed. The clock chimes. Oh, man, it's already 11. It's already 11. My uncle will be here soon, says Megan, looking at the clock. Should we get stuff ready for him? Let's play just one more game, she replies. You pick. As you begin ruffling through the pile of cartridges by the TV, you realize Megan is staring at you. You turn to stare back. Is everything okay? Megan shakes her head. No, sorry. I was just thinking. You shrug and then pick a cartridge from the pile. How about this one? Megan nods. As you plug it in and start up the console, you hear her behind you. Hey. Yeah? Thanks for spending the night, she says. You play together for a good while. The clock chimes. The grandfather clock chimes the hour as Megan suddenly looks up from the 64. It's time, she says. Time for what? That's him, says Megan. I should go let him in. As she leaves the den, you realize you could follow, but a part of you really feels like being scarce for a bit. I'm gonna try to follow this time, since we didn't do that before. The knocking continues persistently as you follow Megan to the front of the house. Outside the pebbled glass of the front window, you can see a tall, dark shadow. Megan goes to the door, undoes the deadbolt, and cracks it open. Knock! 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 You can come in, she says to whoever stands out there on the porch, then looks over her shoulder at you. Sorry, she says. Before you can ask what there is to be sorry about, the door slams open. Undefined error. Undefined error. Hello, child. Hello, child. Hello, child. All right, so that's undefined error. So we got an undefined error, run, exit. There's 2 more endings. Some things you remember don't match what you see. Learn what you can. Ask questions. Have a serious talk. Don't be mean, but still, get out of there. Oh my god. And then make what might be the worst decision ever? What the fuck? Megan is playing something that looks a little like Shadows of the Empire, but it's not a game you're familiar with. You watch for a while, and eventually Megan turns to look at you. Come on, you want to play? Yeah, let's play co-op. There's co-op, you ask? Of course, says Megan, handing you a controller. You don't know the game, but still, it seems oddly familiar. She only has to give you a few pointers on how to move the camera. You play through a level or two. Clock chimes. I'm gonna get the pizza. I'm getting the pizza. It's 8:30. Let's maybe pick something different for here. The chance to be a different sort of person. You okay? I know what you mean. They say the same stuff about me. Girls don't play, yeah. You're not as good. I could beat you at any game. No, you don't understand. Here. No, you don't understand. Here, you see, what you really need to do is... Yeah, that definitely feels like my experience as an 8-year-old girl playing video games, actually. Thanks. That is way too fucking real.
Hello.
Hello.
What a sound to come in on barred blank.
Chavo, thank you for 23 months. Welcome back. Did you know that we have an uncle who works for Nintendo? Let's see. I'm gonna go with the not calling them jerks one, but I'm gonna go with this middle option because we didn't try that before. I'm sorry they're like that. I really am. I'm sorry I don't stand up for you. Megan looks surprised, as if she never considered this a possibility before. No, she says, no, you wouldn't have to do that. But I should. Why? Oh my gosh. Because I'm your friend, because they're jerks, because no one should be treated like that, because they shouldn't treat people like that, because they won't stop unless they feel like people will fight them, because I'm sick of it, and I just want to be able to be your friend and play video games and not have people be terrible about it. I mean, that's pretty true. But also this one's very true. There's so many good answers. Because we are her friends. No one should be treated that way. And also, I am sick of it and I just want to be your friend and play video games and stuff. So you know what? I'm going to go with the bottom answer and see how it goes. Because I'm sick of it and I just want to be able to be your friend and play video games and not have people be terrible about it. Oh, she says, and then, thank you. Megan returns her attention to the Nintendo, leaving you alone with your thoughts. Megan's mother bustles into the room, holding a large ceramic bowl filled with popcorn under her arm. Yep. Nods silently. Yay, popcorn! Yay, popcorn! Why is your uncle coming? What sort of business? That's cool. Get to meet him. Uh-huh. Heck, it's already 9! It's already 9! I'm gonna get a soda! I'm trying to make sure that we have to pee at some point so we can go look at the bathroom and notice that everything is like super effed up. But it specifically said to not be mean in this one. And that was, I mean, that's how we managed to be able to call our mom. Maybe we need to remember the storm. What a bad storm. Yeah. Because then at 10... you feel like you might have to go to the bathroom. Remember your own meal. It looked different. Why did it look different? Here in the den. More stuff about the storm. Uneasy. It's 10:30. Oh no, everything's normal! Shit! Oh no. Yeah, we have to get this storm to happen. I think in order to have the ability to call our mom to leave, I think what actually triggered it was the storm. So how did oh no, I don't remember how I did that. What's wrong? Oh boy. Time for what? Dude, we're so dead. Yeah, I don't think it matters what we do here. Damn. Alright, so we somehow gotta get this storm. Hey, chat, do you guys remember what exactly we did that triggered the storm to actually happen? Okay, I do remember we told her we didn't believe her about her uncle, and that's how we got into a fist fight with her. Okay, so maybe we need to start a fight with her again, but not fight back. Maybe we'll try that. I do think we have to click on this to learn about the storm. Yeah, everything's fine. Hi, Yukon. Hi, Item Finder. Hi, Dio. This is called the Uncle Who Works for Nintendo. And, honestly, I don't know what's going on. We're trying to figure that out. I mean, remembering our own Mew, it was that it looked different than Megan's. It was more about the storm in that one. And then more about Megan's brother and feeling uneasy. Oh! No, I don't think it... Okay, so I don't think it has anything to do necessarily with us telling her we don't believe her uncle works at Nintendo, because that's what started the fist fight. But we got the storm in the first time we played this game, too, by asking if Megan thinks the storm will be as bad as the last one. All right, so do you think the storm will be as bad as the one we had before? I don't know what you're talking about, says Megan. You don't remember? The storm, it happened a few weeks ago. It was huge. It took down trees. Megan shakes her head. If it was important, I'm sure I would have remembered it, she says. You fall silent. Yeah, I don't think, I guess she won't remember it no matter what. Yo, that sucks. Oh man, that sucks. Whoa, 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 this is new. We looked at the pictures again, and we saw something was wrong. Where's Megan's brother? You know she has a brother. You know it, except he's not here in any of the pictures, and you... Think harder about the brother. He was older. Not much. 1 or 2 years? A jerk sometimes, but not any more of a jerk than you are to your little sister. When it snowed, your mom would pay him to shovel the sidewalk outside your house. He lived next door. His name was... Remember his name. You can't remember his name. Ask Megan about her brother. Is your brother spending the night with one of his friends? Megan pauses the game she's playing and gives you an odd look. I don't have a brother, she says. But I remember him. There is a long moment of uncomfortable silence, broken only by distant thunder, the Nintendo, and the clock ticking. You're such a weirdo, says Megan, and turns back to the Nintendo. The subject, it seems, has been dropped. Time passes. Oh, there's a Call My Mom here! Call my mom. I want to go home. Yes. I'm gonna announce we're leaving. Almost time for what? Okay, so she's talking about the Zelda game. We hear a car horn honk. We leave. We look back at the house. Her parents appear. I'm gonna wave. Okay. Can't see the house's lights. She doesn't show up. Her family moved away. Okay, so that's the same as regular exit. There must be something that we're missing then. What are we missing? Oh, there is the game. Oh, there is the game where she asked if we figured something out. Maybe, okay, maybe we need a few pieces of information. Maybe we need the storm. Maybe we need to remember the brother. So we gotta remember Armu. Her brother was jealous. Okay, so the clock chimes. If we look at that, something is wrong here. I think Carter brought the brother. Hey, weren't there any pictures of your brother up? But I remember him. Alright, so it's 8:30. It's 8:30. We have the option to call our mom. We don't want to call our mom yet, though. Yeah, this is really, the game's name really is The Uncle Who Works for Nintendo. So we know that she had a brother and doesn't seem to remember it. We know that the bathroom is fake. Although, I don't know what triggered that. I think the only thing that might have triggered the bathroom being fake was us getting into a fight with Megan. But I don't really think... I don't think that that's the correct thing for this. Okay, here's that game. People is mistaken for someone else. Of course.
So you know who he really is?
Asked Megan, and from the tone of her voice, you don't think she believes you. So we have either he was the guy he was telling me people kept mistaking him for. He was just a weirdo. He was the game. Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe the uncle is turning people into video games. Megan gives you an odd look, as if she genuinely wasn't expecting you to say this.
Maybe,
she says, almost thoughtfully.
Maybe, yeah.
But then she has moved back to the Nintendo and is choosing another game. You realize you've played for quite some time. Alright, so it's 9 o'clock. Talk to Megan. Okay, she still doesn't remember the storm. Solving puzzles and stuff? Are you okay? Chica's in Zelda, you're lying! I'm sorry. Okay, I am gonna do this whole conversation where we tell her that we want to stand up for her. I should. No one should be treated like that. Oh, she says, and then, thank you. It begins raining outside. It's 10 o'clock. Okay, all of these look normal still. It's 10:30. Call my mom. Things are really weird here. I want to go home. Please, Mom. I'm not having fun. Okay. Don't wave? Okay. Yeah, damn it. This is the same ending again. This is difficult. This is difficult. Oh, I see. You left early. Okay, maybe we have to call our mom at 11. Maybe, maybe because it takes an hour for the babysitter to get there, so maybe we have to call the babysitter at 11. I'm gonna try that. Okay, so let's see. Construction crews, the storm. Remember our own Mew. Ours looked different. Also about the brother. Okay, so that makes us feel uneasy. Let's look at the pictures. Look again at the pictures. Yes, I'm sure Megan has a brother. Then why can't you remember his name? Hey, why aren't there... Oh, yeah. Where's your brother tonight? But I remember him. Okay. Okay, so it's 8:30 again. I feel like we don't actually need to go to the kitchen or the bathroom at all. I feel like maybe those are red herrings. At least right now. If we ever need to go to the bathroom... It's probably just to see that stuff is fake. Of course. He was the game. Okay. Popcorn. She doesn't remember the storm, though. I don't know if I need to have the conversation with her not remembering the storm. Okay. It's raining us. It's 10:30. Okay, so I do want to have this nice conversation with her where we say that we want to stand up to the people who are being mean to her. Because it did specifically say to not be mean. It's 11 o'clock. Hi, Mom. I want to go home. Yes. She'll probably be there in an hour. Oh. This is different. The clock is chiming. Megan is standing in the middle of the den, her hands at her sides, and an odd smile on her face.
You're too late,
She says.
he's here.
And then someone knocks at the front door. The knocking continues persistently as you follow Megan to the front of the house. Outside the pebbled glass of the front window, you can see a tall, dark shadow. Megan goes to the door, undoes the deadbolt, and cracks it open. Yeah, okay. I was hoping that maybe they would surprise me by it actually being the babysitter. Fuck, I have no idea how you're supposed to get the other endings then. Anyway, that's pleasant. I want to find the other endings! chat, if any of you guys have played this game that have like a hint or something, let me know, because I am actually really interested in seeing the other two endings. I mean, that's true, Item Finder. We haven't tried fighting her again. I do think that thinking about like the Mew and the brother and all that is probably important because it does lead to a conversation with her. Yeah, so she doesn't remember anything about it. So she never remembers the storm. Talking to her about games seems important because it's this whole conversation where she ends up saying thank you. Okay, so we have popcorn now. So why is your uncle coming? But I thought he worked for Nintendo. Okay, so here's the not believing her about her uncle thing again. I mean, the problem is there's no way to be nice about this conversation, but we're gonna have to have it. I don't believe your uncle works for Nintendo. Okay, so let's involuntarily flinch instead. Megan shakes her head as if remembering something. Never mind, she says. Just never mind. You want to say something more, but she's already re-immersed in the video game. You take a breather. Do you... Oh my god! Oh my god, she remembers the storm now! She remembers the storm now!
You remember the storm? Asked Megan.
Yeah, you say, nodding.
But no one remembers the storm, she says.
It was big. It took down trees.
That's impossible, Megan says. Impossible! No one remembers it!
What's going on here?
He came out of the storm. I was home alone.
Megan begins, her eyes growing distant.
Mom was at work. Dad was out at the bar.
Listen.
I answered the door when the knocking started. He said he was lost and hungry. He said he could help me. All I had to do was promise to feed him.
Bad expression.
Feed me.
Megan tenses. Who are you feeding?
It's my uncle.
Megan says.
Or that's what he told me to call him. I don't really know. I don't know what it is.
What did he do?
He changed things.
Says Megan.
He said he could make things happen any way I wanted them to. That I would always be the best. That guys at school wouldn't get so weird about me playing games anymore as long as I fed him.
What did you have to feed him? Megan looks at you, her eyes watering. For a long time, she doesn't say anything, and then suddenly, you understand. I want to go home.
No,
Megan says,
you can't! You can't! He's already on his way!
bad expression. No! There it is. Like a voice. Not something you hear exactly, but still somewhere in the back of your head. Megan heard it too.
See?
She asks,
See? He's almost here!
I'm calling my mom! Passing through the empty dining room, you enter the kitchen where the phone sits on the counter. Call Mom. You dial your mom's work number and wait. She picks up after 3 rings. Things are really weird here. What do you mean? I just want to go home. Mom, please. Something in your voice seems to give her pause. Okay, she says after a moment. I'll call the sitter and tell her to come pick you up. It'll probably be an hour. Is that okay? Can't you make her get here faster? It's not gonna happen, honey, she says. Just sit tight. Thank you. Of course, she says with a hint of a sigh. I'll call her now, okay? She'll be there in an hour. Be safe. She hangs up. Return to the den and pack your things. You return to the den. Megan is sitting silently on the floor as you come in.
You're leaving, aren't you?
She says. Alright, so our 2 choices are, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, or this joke you're playing is really mean. I mean, she's not joking. We externally know that. I don't know! I don't know which one to pick! Oh my god, this is too hard. Exactly, like, I'm like, shit, dude. Saying I don't want to be friends with you anymore sounds kind of mean. But also... Also, I mean, she's literally feeding her friends to a monster, so... I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with... Because we haven't had the this joke you're playing is really mean option before, so I'm gonna pick that and see what happens. This joke you're playing is really mean.
I should have known it was different.
Megan mumbles.
You're remembering too much.
If your uncle's so powerful, why can't he just keep me here? Megan frowns.
He gets weak. He can't do as much. Is that why things have been different? Is he weaker now?
Begin packing your stuff.
Please,
says Megan.
Please don't go. I've never not fed him, and if I don't, I'm not sure what'll happen.
So you just want me to get eaten or whatever?
No, please, no, she replies. It's not... I think he'll kill me, do you understand? He would have killed me if I didn't.
Continue packing in silence.
Why could you hear him?
She asks, but it doesn't seem like she expects you to answer. You both lapse into an awkward silence. Eventually, a car honks outside. You get up to leave. Megan has wandered over to the fireplace and is looking into its unlit depths as you walk out the door and into the night. The sitter's familiar car is parked out front. As you walk closer, you see your little sister in the back seat, still in her pajamas. The sitter, a high school girl who lives down the street from you, looks incredibly unhappy to be here, but you think you'll be able to handle her. As you climb into the car, you cast one last look over your shoulder back to the house. The front door is closed. You suddenly can't remember if you did that yourself. The lights in the den are still burning. As the sitter pulls away from the house, you stare out the window at Megan's house. The lights blurred and magnified by the rain streaming down the glass. Eventually, it all slides out of view. You find out the next afternoon about the fire. It started in the den, says the papers, where there was known to be a fireplace. Apparently, it was left smoldering in the night. There were no survivors. Arson is suspected since an accelerant would have helped the flames overcome the night's heavy rains, but nothing definitive is ever publicly released on this account. One day after school, you ride your bike by to check it out. Part of the house still stands, walls and beams blackened by the flames. Yellow caution tape has been looped around the outside, and the rubble hasn't yet been totally cleared out by the city. You decide to investigate. The second floor has either mostly burned away or fallen through, but standing in what used to be the den, you look up to the hole that would have been Megan's room. The broken glass and charred drywall crunch beneath your feet, until you step on something that isn't glass. You look down. There, in the mess, is what looks like a Game Boy. It's a Game Boy Color, not at all scuffed or damaged. In the back is a single cartridge, a copy of Pokemon Blue. Well, this could be what the game means by leave the house and then make the worst decision possible. Let's take Megan's Game Boy! Looking from side to side, as if anyone might actually be watching, you pick up the Game Boy and flick on the power switch. After clicking through the Pokemon intro screens, you find there is no saved game on the cart. It's like a brand new copy. You turn off the Game Boy and, stuffing it into your pocket, return home. Your mom is standing in the kitchen when you arrive, doing dishes, and your little sister is watching some annoying cartoon. Remember to take a bath and get dressed before 7, Mom calls. Remember? You're fairly certain she never told you to do that in the first place. You walk into the kitchen, dropping your backpack on the linoleum floor. Why do I need to do all that? Silly. Your mom turns from the sink to smile at you, and your throat tightens when you see how glassy and empty her eyes are. Don't you remember? She asks. Your uncle is coming over for dinner to celebrate his new job. Ah! Wait, hey! Oh my god. Repetition with a difference. It is not the time for running. Go where you're not wanted. Go where you've been told you can't go. Holy shit! You guys! We have to get the 4th ending! I think if we get the 4th ending, we can go to the fucking kitchen! let's fucking go! What's in the kitchen? Oh god, what's in the kitchen? Oh no, what's in the kitchen? What's in the fucking kitchen, dude? Alright, so we need to remember our own Mew. We need to remember her brother. We need to look at the pictures. Ask Megan about her brother. We need to talk to Megan about games. We need to be nice to her.
Hello?
Bardomd bard hug bardomd.
TTH, thank you so much for 13 months. Welcome back. Hi! How are you today?
Welcome. Screaming.
Boo.
Welcome to screaming. Gee, thank you for the $5.02. Yeah, the spooky alerts are still on. It's the last day for spooky alerts. Alright, we gotta be nice to her. Hi, Freakish, how are you doing? Okay, so we got the popcorn. That's cool. Alright, so we want to ask about the uncle's visit. Why is your uncle coming? I thought he worked for Nintendo. What does he have to do here? I'm not sure I believe you about your uncle. I don't think your uncle actually works for Nintendo. We flinch. We talk to her. We ask her about the storm. I'm just gonna listen to her. Promise to feed him. What is that? What did he do? Fed him. I want to go home. Okay, so the joke you're playing is mean. If your uncle's so powerful, why can't he keep me here? So you want me to get eaten? Okay, so we're packing. The fire. Okay, so the fire happens. And this time, we're going to choose to not pick up the Game Boy. So we're leaving the Game Boy. You leave the ruined house and hop back on your bike, pedaling back home. Your mom doesn't have to work tonight. And since she knows you're taking recent events hard, she's promised to take you and your little sister to the movies. You don't think about Megan at all. The end. All unsaved data will be lost. Repetition with a difference. It is not the time for running. Go where you're not wanted. Go where you've been told you can't go. You head towards the kitchen, thinking you may grab a soda from the fridge. On the way, you have to head through the dining room. Megan's mom and dad are still there. The table hasn't yet been cleared, and they're still sitting in the exact same place as you left them. In fact, you realize they aren't moving at all. They sit there completely still like mannequins. Megan's dad is holding up his glass of lemonade as if getting ready to take a drink. Megan's mom has her head turned and her mouth slightly open, as if she froze immediately after you and Megan left the dining room. Sure, let's try to talk to the robot parents. Hello? They don't respond. Thunder rumbles outside. They don't seem to notice. Please, are you okay? They aren't even blinking. Run past them into the kitchen. You are in the empty kitchen. The dining room is behind you. You could grab something out of the fridge or exit through the back to return to the den. Tell Megan about her parents. You tell Megan what you saw.
What?
She asks, looking over her shoulder at you and pausing her game. Your parents are sitting in the dining room still? They're not moving? They're not even blinking?
Are you sure?
Says Megan, frowning at you.
I bet they're just being weird. Give me a second.
As she stands and moves out of the room, she points back at the 64.
You can play my game if you want.
Nah, I'll wait, thanks. You stand alone in the den, listening to the wind outside and the chiming of the grandfather clock. You try to listen to the conversation Megan must be having with her parents, but you don't hear anything. After a while, Megan comes back.
They look fine to me,
says Megan.
Mom said she's gonna bring us popcorn soon.
But I saw them.
Nice try for a prank, though,
says Megan, seemingly ignoring you.
Oh, and one more thing,
she says while she resumes her spot in front of the Nintendo.
Thanks for sending me out then. Mom made me help her clean up after all. Special company.
What?
Oh, my uncle's coming to visit.
Time passes. Here's ask about parents.
Hi, Ollie. Are you done back there, buddy?
Ugh, I want to pick the right thing. Insane Man's 1 and 2. Hi, Insane Man. How are you? I'm good, although I'm really kind of creeped out at the uncle who works for Nintendo because it turns out he's a creepy monster who eats children. Also, Megan's parents seem like they are, robots. I don't really know what's up with that either. This is making me uncomfortable. How are your parents doing, Megan?
What are you talking about?
Asked Megan.
They're fine, I guess. How's your mom?
She's good. I wish she didn't have to work so late all the time. Yeah, Megan says, almost laughing.
That would suck, huh?
It does. Megan seems to want to let this conversation end here as she goes back to playing her game. You think about your mom. So was I hallucinating that thing with your parents?
Of course you were, says
Megan, you weirdo. The thing is, I saw them.
No, you thought you saw them?
Megan says firmly. You bite your lip and look at your hands. I thought so. Never mind. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Yeah, it's okay,
Megan says, shrugging. I see. So I think we need to go through... I think we need to go through everything else that we have before. I think we need to go through what we've done to get the last two endings. Because otherwise, Megan is still not going to tell us the truth. So let's remember her brother. So that we can look at... Oh god, it's already 10 though. This might be too late. I might have been too slow. Now she's like ignoring me. Huh. Okay, so I think what we need to do is see her parents and wait to talk to her about it until we've seen all of these other weird things. Stop being weird. Kitchen. Oh! This passage does not exist. Kitchen. Go anyway? This passage does not exist. Kitchen. Go anyway. What? You go to the kitchen. No, child. There is not much of a, this is not allowed, child. Tell the uncle to be quiet. It falls silent for the moment. It has grown weak since you haven't been feeding it. Take out the Game Boy. From your pocket, you pull Megan's Game Boy Color. The uncle is somewhere behind the half-textured walls, grumbling to itself. Turn on the Game Boy. You. Oh my god. Pokemon, this isn't the time to use that. This isn't the time. Option? Save? It's probably not a good idea to save when things are getting so messed up. You. Hope this works. It came to you after you picked up Megan's Game Boy. Still weak from the night of the sleepover. And in that moment, you had an understanding of what it was and what it did. How many times had you not made it through the night? How many of your friends had gone before you, would come after you? How many had taken the Game Boy? It promised you what it promised everyone, every time. The newest games, the best consoles, the best strategies and most talents, the knowledge of tricks and secrets. A family who could and would provide these things. You could play well, play forever. You would always be the best, so long as you fed it. And you had an idea. It did not like your first request, but it was hungry, and it had no other choice. So here you are. Hex speed fast. What? In the corner, the grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a nearby set of patio doors, you can see it's dark and rainy. Megan is parked in front of the large TV playing something on the Nintendo 64. Suddenly, she jumps as if you scared her by entering when you did and turns to look at you.
What was that?
She asks. I know about the uncle. Megan blinks uneasily at you.
I don't know what you... Do not listen. You mean, what are you talking about?
I used it to come back here.
Stop this. Stop this.
Megan looks around uneasily. I hear it too.
How is this happening?
Megan asks. I'm starving it to death. Megan shakes her head in disbelief.
What are you here for? What are you doing?
The rain outside increases in tempo or stops sounding exactly like rain. I came so we can stop it. Megan takes a step toward you.
How did you do that?
It's weak,
but it changed so much,
says Megan. I am not child, I am your god. Not really.
But all the others...
Gone, gone, gone. I ate them all up, says Megan.
They're gone.
No, we're here. We're all here still.
I made so many. My parents, my brother. I don't deserve it. Why did you come back for me?
Suddenly, Megan is crying.
Why did you come back for me?
Because you don't deserve this. Things are starting to change. The uncle, the thing that calls itself an uncle, is either on the verge of death or making a final gamble to stop either of you from leaving. Megan is crying. If we don't do something soon, we'll be stuck. Megan looks up at you.
You really came back for me? You really think we can do this?
It wants us to hate each other, and I won't do that. With a sad smile, she nods.
Okay.
Let's go. Exit. Come back! Come back! You don't understand. Games offered me something I didn't have before. They gave me a sense of place, a sense of who I was, a sense of who I could... What? Oh my god, you could click on all those! I'm sorry you were hurting and I did not listen. It doesn't control us. It isn't our only choice, even if it wants us to think it is. You were my friend. No more games. You were my friend, and I am here for you. This game is free. This game is free. I'm quiet because I actually I wasn't really expecting what I got. I expected it to freak me out a bit. I expected it to be kind of creepypasta. I did not really expect for it to inevitably be about a child who is neglected and alone and hurting. Shit. Oh no, I knew it wasn't going to be normal fish. I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I want to know if it... You have unlocked the author's notes. There's several endings to this game, and yet, if you are reading this, it's because you've attained the ending, after which I do not think there can be any more play. If you haven't unlocked all the endings and were planning to do so, I'm sorry for what probably seems to be a blunder in design. Alternatively, you can read the short essays that follow, since their appearance here was definitely an intended effect of the design. They are various reflections I composed for my own clarification and guidance while making and testing this game. They are likely tedious and, to greater or lesser degrees, beside the point of whatever experience you had while playing the game, but that is why they are hidden content. Nevertheless, if you would like more traditional hidden content, please click here. At any rate, thanks for playing. Congratulations! You have unlocked alternate outfits for all characters! During your next playthrough, do your best to imagine the characters wearing different outfits than the ones you imagined them wearing before. Some suggestions. You and your friends are now dressed like Orin and Titus from Final Fantasy X. Your friend's parents are wearing horse armor. Please PayPal me $5 for this privilege. j.michael.lutz@gmail.com. The uncle who works for Nintendo has been replaced with DreamsWorks' beloved character, Shrek. But really, your imagination is the only limit. That's the magic of games. I appreciate the reference to horse armor. Oh, that's beautiful. Sleep well, Shadow. Thank you for joining us. That made me giggle a lot, but I'm also sitting here still trying to process the fact that, like you said, Pawnstick, a game just told us to stop escaping our pain by playing games. And I'm like, well, I feel called the fuck out, thanks. I feel very called out right now on making games. I guess I should probably ask, are you guys interested in me reading all these out loud? I'm happy to. Because I imagine once I close this page, I'll probably have to play through the whole game to see them all again. I'm kind of like, I'm personally interested in them. So I'm happy to read them if you guys are as well. This one was about designing games. Every game I make has the same starting point, which is the question I ask myself. How is this project different from the last one? The game you just played was the one where I decided to finally attempt something approaching a traditional game-like structure, hence the many variables, paths, and multiple endings. It has not necessarily been calibrated for each path to be accessible in turn for each player. The idea was that two people could play the game and have very similar experiences that, when compared, had certain fundamental differences. I feel the demand for variety is made more often of interactive fiction, despite most graphical games having very little in the way of non-linear plots, or, at least, plot changes beyond the cosmetic. The sense seems to be that if I am playing a graphical game, I should be happy to simply ride from set piece to set piece, shooting enemies or collecting G-Gauze. Relying on text necessitates branching paths, and the more of them, the better. The fact that most Twine games eschew these conventions was a real eye-opener for me, and part of what made me feel comfortable enough to begin writing interactive fiction. I also really appreciate this person's point of view on how they prefer to make games. Also, yeah, what Fish said fairly, if you're interested in getting into the mind of a game developer, you should definitely check out the Beginner's Guide. It's worth it. The Beginner's Guide is worth a playthrough, especially if you can get it on sale. Definitely check it out. It's not a very long game. Probably won't take you more than 2 or 3 hours. Very worth. I actually played it on my own time in the dark on one of my weeks off. I was really a fan. Nevertheless, my general uneasiness with this sort of writing has confused a lot of players regarding my work, since they expect paths where there are none or criticize me for not including them. And because, due to arbitrary conventions of the medium, I know their expectations are not entirely unfounded, and in order to challenge myself and grow as an artist, here I wanted to produce something a little less oppressively gloomy and single-minded than my other pieces. Assuming I've done my job correctly, what I've made is a horror game that, if it is the least bit scary when you first play it, manages to get less frightening each subsequent time. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, in general, horror games kind of are that way. The first time you play them are much scarier than the next. Oh, yo, seriously? The Beginner's Guide is on sale? Nice. Yeah, I would definitely snag that. If you are in the least bit interested in the type of game where you get into a game developer's mind, if you played through the Stanley Parable and enjoyed it at all, definitely recommend picking up the Beginner's Guide for half off. It's a good deal. Ooh, on creepypasta. When I was younger, the phrase creepypasta had a particular meaning. It was the name for a sort of post that appeared on 4chan, most usually that began as the narration of some event from the poster's life, which soon veered into supernatural, or at least generally surreal horror. Beyond this, there wasn't much to define the content other than the implicit idea in the nickname that the story would be saved and posted again by various other people, always hoping to introduce the story to someone who hadn't seen it yet and, perhaps, dupe the unsuspecting into taking it for real due to the genre's maintenance of what M.R. James once called, regarding the proper construction of a ghost story, the pretense of truth. Personally, my favorite creepypasta is Been Drowned. Some years later, after not keeping tabs on the community, I was surprised to find that creepypasta now meant just about anything inflected with horror that a person of a certain age encountered on the internet. My game, My Father's Long, Long Legs, released in the autumn of 2013, had no pretense of truth about it, and nevertheless was often circulated as creepypasta, or among people who consider themselves enthusiasts of the genre. At this point, I also discovered two things. First, a rather unusual fandom had grown up around creepypasta, whose consistent object of adoration was a shared pseudo-continuity in which the various monsters and villains from the stories coexisted, were friends or enemies, and had adventures. Surprisingly, this included one creature I made myself back in the dark and backward abysm of my own 4chan days. Second, by and large, these were in some sense classic or vintage creepypasta, as the stories being currently produced had developed an oddly specific preoccupation with video games and gaming culture that had not been the case my epoch of 2008. Oft these stories involved cursed or somehow evil versions of popular games, the most famous examples here probably being Pokemon Black, Blood Whistle, or Been Drowned. Yay, it's Been Drowned, my favorite! That one gave me nightmares. Boo-de-doo-boo-de-boo. Yeah! Given the range of material earlier instances of the genre had covered, it struck me as peculiar that games would have been singled out in this way. To paraphrase Zizek, the key to understanding a horror story is to imagine the same story, but without the horror element. When we do this, we can locate on some level the true horror, the thing that must be fantasized and fictionalized in order that it becomes digestible, entertaining horror story rather than something truly unpleasant. If we perform this deconstruction on the many permutations of the video game creepypasta subgenre, what happens? The story we end up with, time and again. I bought a game, and I played it. I received a game as a gift, and I played it. I found a used game for sale, and I played it. I picked up an old game from our childhood, and I played it. What these stories reveal, I think, is an underlying anxiety we have about games in general. That beneath their smiling faces and heroic poses, Mario and Link are somehow hostile to us. That if these emblems of childhood and adolescent pleasure had their way, we would keep playing with them until it killed us. Perhaps here we can find the pretense of truth that seemed to otherwise go missing. There is something about games culture, its particular awareness of itself in its own moment of history, that facilitates the experience of horror at the industry's own promise of endless and repetitive play. Games, in this perspective, both loathe us and need us. That explains why the uncle who works for Nintendo said, "I hate you," but also was begging us not to leave. On lying to your friends. I don't believe I ever had a friend who claimed they had an uncle who worked for Nintendo, and yet, nevertheless, the trope has always made sense to me in its deployment as a punchline for unsubstantiated gaming gossip. Certainly, I had conversations with friends that turned on similar structural logics. One of us claiming dubious knowledge about the secret workings of a game or the future moves of a particular developer or the games industry in general. The uncle who works for Nintendo on a very basic level is interesting because of how well it encapsulates the frank bullshittery of such conversations. I love the word bullshittery, by the way. That's such a good word. Ooh, I haven't played that one, Darth, but I've heard good things about it. I have an uncle who works for Nintendo, and he says, let's break this down. This is obviously something a child says. It is marked as such by its appeal to specifically adult authority. Yet, interestingly, it is not a parental authority, but rather a sort of subjunctive adult presence. The uncle, rather than a parent. Uncles have more interesting lives than our parents. They're proverbially eccentric, and they can work for Nintendo. There's something ghostly or phantasmatic at work here. The avuncular remainder of patriarchal authority. In this way, the knowledge becomes both authoritative and somehow illicit. It is a secret, something told in confidence, away from the purview of the central authority figure. And it is only in greatest trust that your friend now passes the word along to you. This establishes, for the friend, a special relationship not only with the adult world, but with the gaming industry as such. Why would children lie like this in ways that are transparently obvious to the point that they can become self-sufficient punchlines? On one level, it works, or worked, because it reproduces to some extent the language of gaming's enthusiast press and the fantasy of exclusive access. Our Nintendo powers and Game Informers wanted us to think this way about game development. It was Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, filled with incredible secrets only to be glimpsed by a lucky few. The enthusiast magazines were our many uncles at Developer X, covertly sneaking out screenshots and tidbits and rumors for our breathless delectation. For the friend who told blatant lies, likely flippantly, perhaps not even fully sure why they did it, the potential payoff was to be like one of those magazines, to become the representative of the uncle at Nintendo, an insider, authoritative, knowledgeable. It was, in short, a power play. Curiously, in reading people's reflections on weird gaming rumors they circulated when they were younger, I find a common theme. People very often repeated things they knew, or at least strongly suspected to be untrue, not because they fabricated the lies themselves, but because they had been lied to about them before. For example, the whole, I hear that if you use Move on that one truck in Pokemon that you can get Mew. Total lie. Got spread absolutely everywhere. Hi, Shynite, how are you? This makes sense. It's how certain rumors manage to become so widespread despite being obviously false. And on the other hand, it suggests a symmetry between the mechanism of secret knowledge of games and the mechanism by which creepypasta spread. The urban legend. The modern myth. To lie and be believed, even regarding something small and harmless, is to hold a type of power over someone else. Thus, in a nebulous third arena, we might locate here a certain mild maliciousness. A desire to deceive others as we have been deceived, to steal for ourselves the aura of exclusive access that the friend who claimed their uncle worked at Nintendo seemed, at least for a time, to possess. On sleepovers. These are really interesting. Oh yeah, was it strength? I don't remember. I never tried it. Although it turned out that missing no was true, so that was pretty cool. I did get missing no. Oh, those are definitely bird sounds, Knack. That's all. He's doing some chattering. He's only like 3 feet away from me, so sometimes his chatter picks up on my mic. Don't worry, your speakers are okay. In the course of writing this game, I realized that 3 of the 4 projects I've now released contain a sequence in which a child visits the house of a friend and something terrible happens. Despite that, nothing particularly bad has ever happened to me while visiting a friend or during a sleepover. However, when I was very young, before my parents divorced, I never had any friends over. The environment of my home felt too tense, far too hostile for me to have anyone spend the night. I was afraid of what would happen if someone came into my life and saw how we lived, which, in retrospect, was not even particularly bad, so far as unhappy families go, but the emotional tenor of my home was often overwhelming to a child with my disposition. So I usually visited friends, but never had them over to my place. Also, that's the last of my coffee. What I enjoyed the most about visiting friends' homes, and this was true even well after the divorce, was seeing how those I took to be normal lived. Clean houses with open windows, parents who talk to one another, and more video games than I would know what to do with. Games were a precious resource, and I carefully considered which one I asked for on my birthday in June, or for Christmas to ensure it would keep me occupied for the 6 months until I got the next. I used to do that too. Visiting friends gave me a chance to vicariously experience what it would be like to, say, own a PlayStation and a GameCube and still get a new game every month. I fear this makes my friendships sound purely instrumental, which of course they were not. I've had many great and supportive friends. I don't know if they ever felt that my relationships with them were a cover for my keen interest in their games, but I felt the guilt anyway. In the end, I can only thank them for their generosity. Making games roughly coincided with me beginning therapy for my anxiety, which was a problem that life and the world, up until a certain point, had trained me not to see I had. Oof. Thanks, that's relatable. To be perfectly accurate, making games actually preceded therapy, and attempting to tell stories that immersed a player in the thick atmosphere of mild to severe mental distress I've spent most of my life, I began to realize how many of my reference points for these feelings could be traced to habits I'd learned or constructed in childhood. Both making games and going to therapy present opportunities to return these behaviors and the events that seem to instantiate them. If the visit to a friend's house is something of a primal scene to me, and the way I unconsciously return to it again and again suggests that it is, then this game became my attempt to acknowledge it and interrogate it more fully than I have before. That's why I chose to set it vaguely in 1998 or 1999. If you want to think about it this way, and I admit it is trite, my games are attempts to make up for lost time. I'm inviting you into a part of the idiosyncratic haunted house that functions as my mind, where the lived experience of sleepovers collides with the imagined horrors and potential catastrophes that always flourish there, unbidden. If you want to think about it this way... Oh wait, no, that's the part I just read. I am a single person, and not a very interesting one in most respects, but if I can leverage this bit of technology to facilitate some sort of human feeling between you and me, then I'll consider it a success. Aw, really? Devolver referenced the uncle who works for Nintendo when they revealed Carrion? That's awesome. You're totally okay with me putting off FNAF till you have to go to bed. Are you also not ready for Freddy, Chadra? I'm not listen, I'm not fully just stalling, because I'm scared of Five Nights at Freddy's. I also am genuinely interested in these. On topicality. When I began drafting this game at the beginning of August 2014, it was not topical beyond a general sense. But as I write this note, what proves to be a first draft of this note since I returned to it again and again as the weeks drag on, it is the final week of August, and in the months I've been at work, the seemingly nebulous concerns I set out to treat, the way the modern games industry encouraged and continues to encourage entire generations of children to internalize hierarchies predicated on structures of access maintained by abusive practices of exclusion, deception, and emotional manipulation, are erupting to the forefront of the culture in a way more horrific and absurd than anything I could have ever made up. And in my original draft, I had a sentence here suggesting that by the time you read this, it would have ended, which of course turns out to be unfortunately not the case. Woof. Cool. We may not believe in the uncle who works for Nintendo anymore, but he certainly is still at work. Women and minority voices are under attack. The finer details of the situation, what calls itself Gamergate, are, by this point, both fatiguing and immensely abhorrent. I will not bother to recount them here. Suffice it to say, the contention of players taking up the flag of gamers are, in many ways, the realization of the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that constitute the enemy of this game. The fantasy underpinning the happy ending is that the people trapped in the unhealthy structures cultivated by a combination of late capitalism and video games can become aware of the way in which they, their friends, in fact, the very world around them, are all being devoured alive, and that we can't escape it if we work together. To those women who have been terrorized these past weeks, for as long as they've been prominent in the industry. Yep. To those still here and those who had to step away, to those who are doing and who did their best to make sure we get out of this beast before its jaws close on us. If any of you read this, I'm sorry, and I thank you. Thank you. Ollie said thank you too. I did not know that this game was being made around when Gamergate happened. Fairy tales, as one paraphrase of G.K. Chesterton goes, are important not because they tell us monsters exist. We know that from our everyday experience. But rather because they allow us to imagine that monsters may be beaten. Developers and writers alike want games about more things and games by more people. We want, and we are getting, and will keep getting, tragicomedy, vignette, musicals, dream worlds, family tales, ethnographies, abstract art. We will get this because we're creating culture now. We are refusing to let anyone feel prohibited from participating. Gamer isn't just a dated demographic label that most people increasingly prefer not to use. Gamers are over. That's why they're so mad. Leigh Alexander, gamers are over. Oh, hey. That's... Oh, okay. That's a thing. That's a link! If I had hovered over it, I probably could have figured that out. Let's be honest. The industry has failed gamers because our culture has failed them. For me, being in a place like rural, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying the word rural. Why is rural such a hard word? Ohio was so tremendously unempowering and made me feel so much like I was so far from being able to ever influence the larger culture that I felt like I at least deserved the video games everyone else I grew up around seemed to get to cope with all of it. That feeling like you're owed media is the default response of our culture to not being able to exercise any kind of other real autonomy or control over any other aspects of your life. Hooray! More painfully accurate statements. The problem is these violent impulses are self-destructive at their core. They're not actions of autonomous actors, they're culturally programmed. They're the impulses of a suicide bomber throwing himself into a crowd of people. They're deeply emotional, deeply disconnected, and deeply afraid of what's happening in the world. And that's what makes them scary and very real. And that's why we need to see them for what they are. Fear, and understand how and why they're deeply intertwined with our culture. If this Game Boy were a vampire and someone had driven a stake through its heart, that's sort of what I'm picturing here. Me to artist Kimberly Parker, September 2nd, 2014. Those were some interesting notes, and I liked them. Yeah, if you want to read more about Gamergate Okami, I would click on the Know Your Meme link there, or just Google around. I feel like there is really no way that I personally could sum that up well. The internet probably has better writings up of it. I also enjoy the making of stories, Nesomnia. I really like learning what people put into their stories, why they make stories. I appreciate this game. And it was free. Why is it now? Why is it that this is not even the first time that I've played a game that's completely free that I feel like genuinely meant something to me? Doki Doki Literature Club had a similar effect on me, and that one hit me really hard for different reasons, but The Uncle Who Works for Nintendo was good. This was absolutely worth playing. Thank you guys for joining me for it, and let me know if you would like for me to highlight this. Yeah, I also thought that this game would be much shorter, but I really wanted to get all of the endings. Yeah, like this game stands out for sure as a labor of love, and I really appreciate Michael Lutz sharing it with us. So thank you, and not that I'm sure he'll probably never see this stream, but thank you, because I really appreciated this game. And I suppose it's true. We did hit the first ending in 30 minutes. We hit the first 3 endings fairly quickly. It took me a bit longer to get to 4 and 5, and I was pleasantly surprised to find a 6th hidden ending. I always really like when games have secrets like that kind of overcome the structure of the way the game is built, and I appreciate the way that this one was structured. All right, we have been live for like 3 hours though. So I'm definitely gonna take a little break here. Yeah, if you're interested in playing this game, by the way, it's, like I said, it's free. This game's heckin' free, okay? This game is literally free. All you gotta do is go here. That's it. You can play it in your browser.